Right then, people, what we're going to do now is before we start decking this place out with furniture, we're going to do the floor and the walls. So the walls, some of you may well be painted, you might have wallpaper. Wallpaper's a bit trickier, so I will let you off with maybe just finding a colour that looks as similar as you can to your wallpaper. But if you want to go and do some kind of YouTube in and see whether you can find out how to import wallpaper, I'd love it if you could tell me, because I'm struggling to find how we can insert images into SketchUp. So that's just a side task for some of you. For the majority of us though, we'll be able to just import basic materials and make them look as realistic as possible. So I'm going to start with the floor. My office has got a kind of creamy coloured carpet in. So what we're going to do to start with is go to materials, which is this little square over here. And then if we go to browse, which is this one here, we'll see that I've already had a little explore, but there's lots of different finishes down here. So it says carpet, fabrics, leathers, textiles and wallpaper. There are other ones where you could put a wooden floor down. Mine is carpet, so I'll do carpet first, then show you guys some other stuff later on. And then there's lots of different carpets. I would be more into finding the right pattern. Don't worry necessarily about the colour at the moment. So if you want to zoom in, you'll be able to see the sort of pattern that we've got going on. This one I think I tried earlier, which has got a kind of a different colour to it. I'm not quite sure what this one looks like. So they all seem fairly-ish realistic. I think that one for me, that one for me is probably the closest, but it's certainly not that colour. So I'll click on it and make it look like carpet, but knowing that it's not the right colour. Then what I'm going to do is go back to this part here which says in model, and then find my carpet. And what it will now allow me to do is go up to this box here and edit it. Now this is mega because it now means I can change the colour. So I just get a gradient colour wheel. If I slide this along the bottom, you notice I can, if I've got quite a bold colour, I could go for that. If I keep it down this end, and then I can move this circle within that to try and find the closest colour for me. And now all of a sudden I'm getting a carpet texture that looks a little bit more like what I'm after. When I zoom in, think it might look quite big, like the squares that they've got. If you can just about make out these kind of squares, I think they look a bit too big, so I can always play around with the numbers as well. So I've now made that, it now turns that into 204, so it's a bit smaller, so it's a bit more detailed. As I zoom out, obviously you can't see any different. If I were to change that and put a 0 in there, oops, not a 10, just a 0, and then click out of there, you can now see that it's the world's fluffiest carpet and it's gone too big. So it is all about just finding something that you think looks reasonable, and maybe actually I might go the other way and just see whether that sort of size, that looks good to me, and that would be my carpet. So again, find something that works, and then you can play around the colours, click done, and it takes you out of that edit area.